I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. If you're coming back and you've already subscribed, welcome back. Y'all are my people and I love you so much. And if you're new, I hope you'll consider subscribing by the end of this video. Today we are talking about what meaningful success is to an Amway diamond. On this channel, I talk often about how I define success as living every single day in love, joy, and peace. And that is my standard for myself, and that's what I hope to spread to other people. My experience with Amway was drastically different than that, and if you've seen any of my videos where I talked about my story with Amway, even just this recent one where I actually go through the whole phone call of my breakup with Amway, you can see how I was in a very, very different place, mentally and emotionally, spiritually, all that. So I'm just going to react to a couple of different audios because I think that they are very conflicting in their message of what meaningful success really is to an Amway diamond. So the first audio that I am reacting to is called The Meaning of Success.
And so I just want to encourage you guys, don't get so caught up in what the world is telling you to do. Productive people are always doing something. That's not true. Mitch and I are way more productive, spending quality time with each other, looking at each other, talking about our day, talking about what we're trying to accomplish, talking about relationships, rather than passing each other high-fiving and keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay? I'll end with this real quick. We've got a couple of Andy and Annie Hansen. And, yes, they're an incredible couple. And just a few months ago, we've been talking a lot about this with this organization, and just a few months ago, day one, they were at 200 to 300 PV at the beginning of the month. They would end the month at 1,800 PV or about 2,500 PV on a good month. And we just really talked about, really slowing down, getting with your organizations and just talking about finances, what's going to work for them, priorities, just really talking about some really good quality stuff. A few months later, that day one ditto went from 200 PV to 1,500 PV. The end of the month, a few months ago, that was 1,800 PV to 2,500. They now end the month at 4,000 PV. Did they add a ton of people? They added a few people, but not enough to make the numbers change like that. So really, it was just kind of slowing down to talk to people and just, can we tweak a few things rather than going out there time and time and just acting busy? Maybe we can get with the people in our organization right now and just kind of spend some time with them, tweak a few things here and there, and be more efficient and more effective. Does that make sense?
So basically what she is saying is that the meaning of success is being able to slow down and have face-to-face conversations and not have to be so busy, be so productive all the time, but rather just be able to, take time and just slow down and tweak a few things. And that's a very attractive idea of what success could look like, especially when you're talking about working smarter versus working harder. That totally makes sense. I do want to point out the fact that they didn't add a ton of people, but they added a ton of volume in her example that she gave. And being able to slow down and just talk to the people who are currently in their group, and all of a sudden their PV has exploded. I'm just gonna allege. I'm just gonna speculate that what that meant was slowing down and taking the time to build relationships with the people in their organization so that the people in their organization would be more loyal to purchasing their own products and having a day one ditto order, which we've talked a lot about that in previous videos, talking about the Amway money mentality, basically how a diamond basically just drew out the map to the Amway pyramid scheme. And so with her taking the time and really developing that quality effectiveness of business, really just means that they convince the people who are already in their group to spend more money on their own products. So, yeah. But that was just kind of like, I found that interesting because that was the actual title of that audio. And now I want to go over an audio that actually maps out how you would build this business in a more realistic way of what it would actually take to build a business that made money in the Amway organization.
You're in the process of going from starting your business on your way to Ruby, right? I know there's other pins in the middle of there, but that's kind of the stretch that we're talking about, okay? And there's a lot of different mentalities. There's a lot of different thought processes. There's a lot of different everything, a lot of different techniques, a lot of different whatever. And here's the bottom line, in my opinion. I believe people have to figure out why they're building this business and let it become burning passion inside them and never let that die. And I think that fuel alone can drive you and drive you and drive you. And all of a sudden what happens is this business, and not just the business, but building the business. You know, there's a difference between being a part of the business and building the business. And what happens is building this business becomes the most fun, the single-handed, the most exciting thing, the only thing that you want to do with any of your time, with your life. Everything other than building this business to you seems like a waste of time. And that is how you feel when you're in that zone, when you're in that mode, when you're...
That is actually very key. What he is saying, what he's describing, is allowing yourself to be 100% consumed by the business, to the point where the only thing you listen to are audios, the only thing you read are books that are recommended to you by your upline, the only money that you're spending are money that has been budgeted out by your upline on products. The only products you use are products from the business. The only people that you're really interacting with are people within the business group, and you're going out every single day and you're talking to people and you're recruiting people and you're meeting with people and trying to get people into the business. And they keep you in that mindset to the point where the only people you associate with are in those meetings. So that's your lifeblood. If you thrive on, community, then the Amway people become your only community. And it's very, very consuming of your entire being. And what he's saying is, in order to be successful in this business, that's the kind of zone you have to be in. So anytime that I did a 90-day core run and I was doing all the 9 steps for 90 days straight and really pushing myself, I always just thought to myself that if I wasn't being as successful as I wanted to be, in recruiting people, I just kind of thought I just need to get more in the zone. Maybe I'm just half-assing it. And that's what I kept telling myself, because that was how I could rationalize the fact that someone else was really successful in this business and this is what they're saying that they did, and maybe I'm just not doing enough, and maybe I'm just not being enough to become successful in this business, even though it was consuming my entire being.
Truly going 100 miles an hour every possible second, all you think about is this opportunity and what you can do to build it. And I see this room and I see everybody that's a part of the team, and everybody's welcome, and I'm so thankful for everybody that's here and everybody in our team and all the cross-line friends I have. It's fantastic. And I see this team, I believe the Grow All team has so many incredibly loyal people on this team that no matter what, they can be counted on to be present. They can be counted on to do what they can be counted on, right? And in fact, I personally love that. To me, loyalty might be one of my, if it's not my top value that I care about, it is within the top 2, all right? So if it's not number 1, it's number 2. That's what I'm saying. And I love loyalty. I love being loyal. I love other people that are. I think loyalty is something that I think it's a rare commodity these days. Now, here's what we want. Here's what I see. Here's with talking to Matt last night. Here's what we're looking to do. We want to take everyone that's loyal and we want to help you move on to the next level and not just be loyal, but totally 100% be all in. Go from loyal to all in. See, we love loyalty. We love you guys. We love having everyone part of the team, but we also want to see you guys grow and accomplish your goals. See, loyal people, every month, or every week, they're at the info session. Every week, they're at team meeting, or every month, we're at team meetings. Go to all the functions. We listen to the CDs. I almost said listen to books. That's if you have a book on CD, then you can do that. But I don't think we do in the system yet, right? We listen to the CDs. We read the books. We go to all the functions. We're there. We're loyal, right? I think, in fact, I think a lot of people who think that they're all in are still working at busting through and currently might still be in the loyal category. Loyal people, their work habits, maybe get 4 or 5 numbers, contacts, business contacts on a weekly basis. That's a loyal person, man. Every week I'm going to go out and meet 3, 4, 5 people, get their name and number, call them up, maybe show a plan in a week, right?
Okay, I just want to point out, do you know how hard it is to get 5 phone numbers from complete strangers when you're just walking around in a grocery store? I know it's kind of unfathomable right now because of, the pandemic and everything. Can you imagine trying to go out and contact? But actually, I'm pretty convinced that if stores are open and that's possible, Amway people are out there still trying to contact strangers in grocery stores in the midst of a pandemic. Yeah, so that was, what he's saying is completely true. And I just want to draw us back real quick because the first audio that we listened to briefly was the meaning of success, which is when you take time, slow it down, spend quality time on your, relationships and everything. And what this guy is saying is that if you are reading the books, you're listening to the audios, you're attending all the meetings, you're attending all the functions, you're buying your products, you're doing all of this, and you're getting a few names and numbers every week, you're actually going out and contacting people, you're just loyal. That's where you're at. You're not all in yet because you still have a ton of stuff to do in order to really be all in, and you still have more of yourself that you can give. And that's what this audio is called, is all in. He's describing a lifestyle where even when you are pretty much 100% dedicating all of your time and money to this business, they still consider you as just loyal. You're not all in yet. So now we're going to hear about what he thinks all in is describing.
And like I said, I'm talking about going platinum and making a run for it because I want to change perspective. I want to change perspective tonight. I don't believe platinum has to take a long time. I don't believe platinum has to take 3 years. I don't believe platinum has to take 2 years. I don't believe 7,500 PV does not have to take a long time. I'm going to prove it. And I just want to, and my goal is to change perspective. A paradigm shift. Okay? And so, loyalty, we got a bunch of loyal people who are out there getting 3, 4, 5 names and numbers on a weekly basis. And we get recognized for that, and it's awesome. And you know something? You should be proud of that work ethic. It's good. But it's also time to go to another level. Another level. See, loyalty, we got a bunch of loyal people that will show 1 personal plan in a week or 2 personal plans in a week. And maybe collectively in their team, with depth and everything, 3, 4, 5 plans in a week. And that's awesome, and you should be excited about that because your business is progressing. It is progressing. But then what happens is you You see someone that gets in, or see somebody on another team, and all of a sudden they go 7,500 points in 6 months, or 8 months, or 12 months. And because we think that we're doing what it takes to do that same pace, we go, wow, they got lucky. Wow, they must have just found some good people right away. I mean, they're lucky. Right? Have you ever, okay. Here's my point. An all-in-person. Want to know what an all-in-person does? An all-in-person, they go to every info session. They go to every team meeting. They go to every function. They listen to the CDs. They read all the books. Sound familiar? Right? They read the books. Now, I think their purpose for doing these things is different than people who are awesome, loyal people. I think that here's the difference. A loyal person a lot of times does it to make a check on the list. Check that one off. Went to the meeting this week. Check that one off. Listened to my 2 CDs today. Check that one off. Read for 15 minutes. Check that one off. Read for 30. You can be loyal and read for an hour every day. Check that off the list. But someone who's all in, man, they're not just here every week. They're here every week. They're here mentally. They are engaged. They don't just come here to be present. They come here to see how they can improve. They don't just listen to CDs. They listen to CDs to see how they can improve. They don't just read books. See, an all-in person, you want to know what they think about? The business. And every chance they get, it's not 3, 4, 5 times in a week. Every opportunity they have, they're talking to people. Every chance. Every day. 7 days a week. See, an all-in person, their business is never closed. Ever. An all-in person will leave here, get gas on the way home at midnight, and if there's a sharp person, they'll still contact them. Because they're all in. I've sponsored legs that way. Met people at the gas station on the way home. After a night owl at 2 o'clock in the morning. An all-in person will meet people anywhere, anytime, all the time. Not to check it off the list, but because they're building their business.
I just want to point out that getting out of a night owl at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday night, on a work night where you have to get up at 6 or 7 in the morning the next day in order to go to work, that is very common. That's very common. And it's, I mean, he said it himself. The fact that if you're still willing to, you know, go out and contact is like meeting people and like building enough rapport where they actually give you their contact information. So contacting people at midnight, 2 in the morning at gas stations, that is so common, it's ridiculous. And that's on work nights. This isn't weekend night kind of stuff. That's on nights where you have to be up and be present for your job, your job, and perform the next day.
Their business open 24/7, 365. They're personally growing. See, an all-in person takes enough action to know what they need to improve on. That's a huge difference, man. An all-in person takes enough action to know where they need to improve. And then you know what they do? They run over to the book list and say, what book do I think will fill that gap for me? And they read that book and change. And people will sit back and go, man, how did that guy grow personally? They take action and read, all at the same time. See, an all-in person, it's nothing for an all-in person to go meet 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 people in a week. Let me tell you something, guys. When I started my business, when I came to the info session, you want to know where contacting recognition started? It didn't start at 1 person a week. It started, you couldn't even stand up and get recognized unless you were getting 3 names and numbers a day. That's where it started. And half the stinking room would stand. And then people wonder, wow, the Grow Well team grew so fast. the plan all night, go home, sleep for 2 hours, get up, go to a second job the rest of the night, then go to his other job. And he did it for months. Why? Because that's what he had to do, because he was all in.
Okay, so that's drastically different than the meaning of success by the other Amway Diamond, where you slow down and you work effectively, you work smart, you don't work hard, and you're able to spend quality time. No, this guy is going to his job, and then he's going out and talking to people, and then he's talking to his upline until the wee hours of the morning. He's getting a couple hours of sleep, and then he's getting up early AF in order to go to a second job before he would go to his primary job. And he did that for months because that's what he considered to be all in. And for someone who, maybe, and honestly, I don't think it is a luck thing. I think some people may get lucky and build an Amway business, but I think for the most part, it will, in order to build a large Amway business, I think it does take a tremendous amount of strategy. And personally, I was to a point where when I was talking to people, I didn't really believe what I said. It was very hard for me to talk well of my upline and say that they had been so instrumental in my life when I didn't feel like they actually had been at that point. And I had very little faith that I would actually build a large Amway business. So when I'm talking to people and talking about the amazing results that they could potentially experience, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, but I'm not even experiencing that, and I've been in it for 2.5 years. So if you get in, you're going to have to prepare to suffer as much as I have, because it's been so hard, and I've really given it all that I have, from my perspective at least. So it was hard for me to actually convey that with conviction because I really didn't believe it for myself. So at that point, either I would have had to be really good at lying to people and just really good at straight up telling people something that I did not believe myself and become a world-class scam artist in order for me to build a good Amway, a sizable Amway business and actually be able to make a living off of it. Or I would have had to drastically change my beliefs without any faith whatsoever, without any reason whatsoever as to the potential that I could have in this business. I would have had to really brainwash myself in order to truly believe in the depths of my heart that this was possible for the people that I was contacting, in order for me to be an honest person recruiting for this business and not consider myself a scam artist because I truly believed what I was saying. So I just kind of want to point that out in terms of being all in and being able to tell people that this is possible. I had one of two ways of becoming successful in this business and actually, at the point of 2.5 years, actually building a sizable business. And it was, number one, to become a really good liar and know that I was lying, or number two, to intentionally brainwash myself so that I could be so disillusioned or so completely in another world that I was dissociating from reality and telling people what I truly believed was the truth, which in my life I had no evidence of that being the truth.
There's nothing that was going to stop him. And you know something? That's not scary. That is awesome. That's exciting. It's some of the best times ever. If you have to do that, you're going to be the most excited person in the room. You're going to be fired up because you're going to come to the info session knowing that nobody's doing what you're doing. Nobody. And you'll walk in, you're going to have confidence, you're going to be excited, people are going to talk to you just like every other week, and you're going to be you. But you're going to know, and inside you're just, you know. And what I know right now is there are people in here right now like that. They know that they're doing things that nobody else is doing. They're at a new level. They're at an all-in level. They're winning. See, they're loyal and all in. We want both. And see, all of you people, everyone, we're all loyal. Let's all go win. Every one of us go to that next step and win. See, I remember early on when I caddied, like when I first started my business, I was a caddy, okay? And some of these stories are going to be uncomfortable because they're about me, but I'm supposed to do this. And I would go to work at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I would caddy, and I would get off. I would caddy, 2 rounds of golf for the day. Get done with work 6:30. Well, guess what? I didn't have time to go home after that if I was going to go meet people and show the plan and all that stuff. And when you carry 2 golf bags at a time for 18 holes twice a day in the summertime when it's 100 degrees, you're like sweaty, you're dirty. I would get off work at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, dirty, sweaty, whatever. I didn't have time to go home. So every single day, I would pack my clothes. Every day, I'd pack my clothes. There's a lake nearby, and it had a locker room with showers, man. I could go there, I could shower, I could change, I could do what I needed to do, and I could go meet people, I could go show the plan, and I did it every day. And every week when we came to the info session, I knew nobody else at the meeting was doing that. I knew it. When I finally got out of doing that and I was in a different job where I didn't have to caddy, you want to know something? Ann and I together every day. She would go to her job, I would go to mine. We never went home after work. Every day we would drive, meet, leave one of the cars somewhere, and drive and go show the plan. Every day. And when I say every day, I mean every day. Because we were all in.
I'm going to cut that audio off because otherwise this video is going to be really, really long. But I do want to point out another thing is the fact that he's mentioning all of these different things about growing your business, recruiting people, talking to people, contacting people, all of that. And not once does he mention customer volume. Not once does he talk about having, not once does he talk about having product parties or having sales gigs or anything like that. He's not educating himself on the product. That's not something that he is doing. All he's doing is going out and recruiting people. And the volume is increasing in his business because everybody has the standard to purchase 300 PV every single month. So he has a team of 4 or 5 people, 5 or 6 people, and he's making 1,500 PV through his business. Like he's bringing 1,500 PV through his business. That adds up to every person who's registered in his business doing 300 PV every month. And not once does he mention actually selling Amway products. So again, as we have already demonstrated multiple times on this channel, the Amway business and this particular business group, Leadership Team Development, LTD, their main focus is on recruiting people to purchase their own products. And how you build a big, stable business is by recruiting people and having them be loyal to purchasing their own products. So I wanted to show that, and I wanted to contrast that with the meaning of success audio, because I think a lot of the Amway upline want to say that success is really about quality time with your family. It's really about being able to spend all of that, all of your life just not having to work a job and just being able to deepen relationships with the people in your downline, blah, 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 blah. But when push comes to shove and when it comes down to actually building a business, an Amway business, what it takes to do that is to be all in. Nothing matters. Nothing else matters other than the business. If you have kids, they're basically being raised by babysitters. If you're all in the business, your kids are not, like, they're inconsequential at that point. All you're doing is just going out, going to work, going contacting, showing the plan, which is like meeting with people, having 5 coffee dates in a week, 3 to 5 coffee dates in a week. That's, number one, a lot of coffee, but also it's like, who has that kind of time just on a normal work schedule in order to like sit down and have a coffee date with a friend 5 times a week? But that is what you're doing in addition to contacting people and talking to them and building enough rapport to get phone numbers and getting 3 to 5 phone numbers a day. Do you know how many people you have to actually talk to and even just say hello to in a grocery store in order to get that many people to give you their phone number every day? It's an insane amount of work. And you have to sustain that level of work for a very long period of time before you start seeing results from that. And if you don't already lose heart before you reach that point, and you're just like in the zone and you're listening to audios to keep your brain washed so that you don't feel like you're lying to people when you're trying to make it seem like this dream life is just a few steps away and all they have to do is sign up and purchase their own products. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So that's what meaningful success really means in the Amway business. And I know that a lot of them talk about their lifestyle. They talk about how much money they have. And then a lot of people also on the reverse side talk about how much quality time they're able to spend with their family and blah, blah, blah. But if you think about the very top minority people who are actually making that kind of money in the business, I'm talking like less than 1% being diamond, probably less than 2 or 3% even making a living in Amway, then you have to consider the amount of people who are doing all of that work and not actually experiencing the results that they're being promised, but also how many years of their children's lives that they're missing, how many years of dating that they're missing. I mean, like, I was in there for 2.5 years, and my upline didn't want me to date anybody who wasn't going to be supportive of Amway, who wasn't going to be supportive of a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme. So my dating pool was limited to like 0, which means that if I would have stayed in Amway, who knows how long. I mean, I'm still single, so I guess I can't really blame my singlehood on on Amway because I already got a good thing with me. Thank you, Kilani. But anyway, I'm just saying, basically, you have to put your life on hold in order to build an Amway business. And how long are you actually willing to put your life on hold and be all in to achieve this kind of success? Because it's going to take years. And if it doesn't take you years to do that and you just like skyrocket, I mean, great, but that's an anecdotal story that happens like 1 in a million, because literally like that happens to 0 people in the business. It's really, the odds are stacked so far against you, and what you stand to lose is so much that, in my personal opinion, joining Amway and trying to build a business where you can make a living off of it, it is not worth it going the Amway route. I think that you would be much better served spending your time building some other business, putting your all into something else that you can actually have like full control over and actually have the odds a little bit more on in your favor, and also have the freedom and have the mental capacity to be able to dedicate time to your family and your friends and not have to isolate yourself and give up everything that you are or were before the business in order to succeed. Honestly, for me, it all comes back to spreading love, joy, and peace every single day. Tune in next Thursday where I'm going to talk about how to show love to the different people in your life. I have been learning a lot about this, and I'm excited to share what I've learned. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. I love you all so much. Thank you all for tuning in. Share in the comments below all of the different things that you would rather be doing than building your pyramid scheme in Amway. And what meaningful success means to you. That, I think, is what I'm most excited to hear from you about, is what does meaningful success mean in your life? Okay, bye.